My name's Brett Jacobson. I'm founder and CEO of Mediaworks. Mediaworks are a fully integrated digital agency, and we are looking to do a series of videos that will be sharing our best practice advice, what we'd be recommending all of our clients to do and what we have been recommending our clients to do, but also what we would just generally be recommending anybody to do who has a business, who's either seeing a downturn, seeing an upturn, and is basically looking for just some help, some advice. You know, what are the basic things you can be doing to try and ride out this situation that we all find ourselves in. The first point, you know, might seem a basic one to everyone, but the key thing really is review your analytics from the point of business impact. So we all have access, you know, to Google Analytics. We've got an abundance of data in there that's charting and analysing user behaviour and different activities in most popular products, least popular products, you know, analysing search site logs to see what searches are peaking and trending and reducing over the last week. But I suppose our advice would be reduce the time frame to which you're analysing that data and make sure this is reflected in your decision making online. So the next point that we're going to be looking at is, again, feels a basic one to a lot of people, but it's something that a lot of people are going to miss. So regularly reviewing and updating your key information on places like Google My Business, local results, local listings, Bing Local. You know, people are going to be searching for your stores. They're going to be wondering, are you still open? You know, if you are open, are you reducing your opening hours? You know, when you reopen, you know, if you've already closed stores, people are going to be constantly looking to when that happens. If you're cafes, restaurants, if you're, you know, B&Q, you know, stores locally, you know, you've got to be thinking people use Google and trust Google. You're going to create a lot of negative reputational impact if you've still got listings that show stores are open and you have people traveling and some of that key travel time that they're limited to a store that's potentially not open because you haven't updated your Google My Business listing. Equally, I know a lot of people, Mediaworks included, have resorted to disaster recovery telephone backup systems, which might sometimes change your telephone number. You know, you might have your old number on there. You might still be operating like us remotely from home, you know, with a different number that hasn't rerouted through. So again, is this creating problems for your business? Are you missing opportunities? You know, if you've got inbound inquiries coming in still to your business that potentially go into a deadline or are being rerouted to direct dials that aren't operating. So basically, the key action, the key tip there is get onto Google My Business, get on Bing Local, and make sure that all of those, you know, it'll be generally located within your Google Webmaster Tools or your Google Search Console, which you can log into, update all of your key information and make sure that's updated as you're coming out the back of this. You might be steadily opening particular stores, but not all stores. Make sure that information's key. We had a stat the other day, 46% of all searches on Google are local or regionally based searches. So this is a massive part of what people require and how they operate, especially with mobile devices, and with that limited time frame of where they want to get to and get back. Please make sure that's up to date. So the third key action is to set up an Amazon store or eBay store. I'm sure it goes without saying, everyone will be aware that Amazon is absolutely going crazy at the moment. I think they've employed another 100,000 people to cope with the next, you know, 4 to 12 weeks demand. I think, you know, for me, I know when I use Amazon, if I'm on there, it's demand driven. You know, I'm on there to make a purchase. It's not as passive as something like Google, where you might still be in that information stage or doing research. So I think, you know, if you haven't already got an Amazon store, but you are a retailer or anybody who sells a product, potentially even ships through third parties or, you know, or retails through other distributors at the moment, you know, you can set up an Amazon store or an eBay store without having an e-commerce website. This is possible. So, you know, we've got a lot of brands who don't sell direct, don't sell sort of B2C, D2C through their own website at the moment, who are now setting up Amazon stores because they can't, through supply chain issues, get their products to their retailers. Therefore, the retailers can't sell them. Customers still have a demand, still want to buy them. So they're setting up their own Amazon stores directly and then selling D2C. It might open up a new income or revenue stream long term. It might just be something you do short term. but it feels like a huge opportunity that could be missed for brands, for manufacturers, and for anybody that develops a product that can be consumed, can be shipped, can be delivered. So the fourth point that we're going to look at, and the fourth action, is to enhance your relationship with your customers through social channels. So as we mentioned earlier, people's time online is going through the roof. I think Facebook announced last week 50% increase in traffic since lockdown. It's just such a direct channel where customers will be very open, very direct, very honest. They'll tell you what they like, what they don't like, what they need, what they don't necessarily need. It's just a great opportunity, we feel, for you to reallocate some of your resources to engaging with your customer base, whether that's B2B or B2C, directly through your social channels in ways that you maybe haven't considered in the past, or haven't had the time or the resource or the focus to in the past, because this could be a fantastic opportunity over the next 4 to 12 weeks where you can garner a lot of insight from your customers. You can really build a great relationship. You can show them how much you value them, and you can engage with them and understand ways that when we get through this, when the rebound comes and the recovery on the other side, that you can take advantage of, that can help support your growth and support you through this period as well. So, open up new channels, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever it is. If you've had it in the backlog, now's the time to open it. And if you are active on Twitter and Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever channels that people are engaging through, just make sure you're active, make sure you've got a voice, make sure they can see that you're there, and you're part of it, and share this experience with them. I think it could be a massive way for you to build much stronger relationships. So the next point follows on really in a way from the last one around social channels and maximising the number you're available. But ultimately, it's to ensure that you're visible across all digital channels. We all know, and we've all known for a long time now, people jump cross device from mobile to desktop to tablet. People might engage 15, 16 times on different touch points before they make a purchase. Some paths to purchase, depending on what product you are or what service you are, can be as long as 9, 12, 24 months if you're in the automotive space. So ensuring that you're as visible as possible across as many different channels is absolutely key. So display, paid search, shopping, social, organic search, programmatic, affiliate, social. It's kind of, are you outreaching your content to third-party blogs to be sharing for you? People have a thirst for content at the moment. You have so many different ways that you can be visible across, like I say, third-party sites, across your own different platforms. Just make sure that, as internet traffic spikes, again, the stat we've got here is in the UK, internet traffic's increased by 70% in the time since lockdown alone. That will continue to grow. There is huge new audiences coming online and spending a hell of a lot more time than they've ever spent before. We looked at a McKinsey report that looked at Gen X being a huge growth area. This is kind of like your 37 to sort of 50-year-olds who didn't necessarily grow up with digital but are very accustomed to digital, but still a lot of them spend a lot of time traditionally, and they might not do their shopping online, and they might not buy that many things through Amazon and things like this, but actually these people are now comfortable with digital and being forced to engage with it, and probably haven't been as accustomed to live by it as your millennials or people like that. So actually there's swathes of new audiences coming online to engage with. Make sure you're on every possible channel to engage with them, and if there is a channel you've been considering dipping your toe into, now's the time to test it. Like you say, programmatic, things like this, it just absolutely makes sense for you to be as visible as possible whilst there's so many eyeballs online, and making sure that your brand is there, whether they're in decision mode now for something to need, or whether they're in research mode for something that on the uptick, on the back of this, they're going to be making a purchase in Q3 of this year. The next point looks more around anyone currently investing in paid search across the likes of Google search or Bing. And again, it might seem like a straightforward or a simple one, but so many people will be missing it. So that's basically just set up a remarketing code. This is a really easy thing to do. It takes about 5 minutes. Your agency can do it for you. We could help you do it. And it literally it'll ensure that over this next sort of 4 to 12 week period, that whilst there's going to be a massive uptick in traffic across the internet and naturally a lot more visitors coming to your website, generally to run remarketing campaigns and re-engage with people, you need to collect a certain amount of data and have a certain amount of visitors hit your website. So because all of this uptick in internet traffic, now is a perfect time to just add a remarketing tag. Even if you're not planning to invest in remarketing and retarget anyone through display ads at the moment, just set the tag up. It's worth collecting the data. At least you've got the option to use it on the other hand. I mean, again, the stat we've got here, customers who see retargeting ads are like 70% more likely to convert on your website. It's a really easy tip and tactic. And again, as there's so much time online, people have got so much noise going around, that consistent visible message of seeing your brand and re-engaging with them and not necessarily being the really annoying pair of Ray-Bans that follows you around for the next 12 weeks because you once went on the website. Doing it tactfully, doing it sensibly is a really powerful tool, but use this as an opportunity to collect as much data as possible for people to remarket to who have seen your brand, have been on your website, and are potentially target customers for you. So the next point looks at, it's around content basically, which is just use this as an opportunity to be helpful and create content with value. There's so many people out there just create content for content's sake and have done, and people are kind of becoming content blind to some of this stuff because it's just on and on and on, and it's covering the same stuff with a different spin. But actually, people's needs and requirements have evolved rapidly over the last 7 to 10 days. People are homeschooling now, and people have never probably considered that before. People are looking at payment holidays and financial advice, things to do with the kids, how to get kids into gardening, how to get kids into baking, nutritional home fitness. Everyone's got a thirst for new types of content that will support them during this period. So how can you be helpful? What kind of content can you create that will add some value? So the next point looks at more traditional side of marketing, and just thinking about reviewing all of your spend across every channel, both online and offline, that you're currently investing in. So yeah, review and adjust your traditional media spend is the point that we're getting at here. If you're traditionally invested in billboards and things like this, and big, large, if you sponsor sporting events, things like this, you're gonna have budget to reinvest. Do you sit on that budget, or do you put it into channels that are going to work a bit harder for you? Channels that are seeing an explosion in content. So things like smart speakers. So the stat again we've got here, smart speaker listening increased by 23% in the first week of March. People are at home, they're engaging with Alexas more, they're engaging with Google Homes more. Do you have voice search schema on your website for your FAQs if people are asking questions that you could potentially be answering? Again, it's a pretty easy thing to get installed on your website. If getting back to the last point of investing in your website and investing in your own digital infrastructure now, being able to tap into smart devices and smart speaker devices through putting pretty basic schema markup around some of your website content isn't a big job. Something agencies like us can do in 2 minutes. Your own agencies can do it. Probably your in-house devs could be doing it from home. So things like that, big opportunity. But things like video on demand, so Sky Ad Smart, ITV Hub, 4 on demand, these channels are seeing a huge increase in viewing hours. We saw a stat from ITV last week here downstairs from our office, and those guys were saying that ITV Hub consumption hours had went up something like 400% last week, which is just crazy. So your viewers' eyeballs have moved. They're not driving past your billboard anymore. They're at home and they're consuming Sky Ad Smart. You can, in the tailoring ability of those sort of what are seen as traditional channels, historically, is so powerful now. You can target people by postcode, by household income, by other interests and likes, and almost like in-market audiences, the same way you would with Google Ads. So think about TV, think about Spotify advertising, think about how you can tap into smart speakers, and again, just think about this traditional media spend. business mags, things like this that no one's going to be consuming for the next 3 months. Divert it into these new channels and use it as a test period, use it as a trial period. You might be pretty impressed with what you see back, and then that again creates new channels for you to reach new audiences on the other side of this. So the next point is more around, rather than a tactic, more just a business decision and a strategy and a consideration that we would definitely urge you and implore you to consider. So that's basically reviewing what your target ROI measures are. So what do I mean by this? We have a lot of customers and clients that, let's say for example, operate to a target of 5 times ROI. For every £1 they invest, they want to return, or want us to help them return £5 and a 5 times ROI. That's fine, that's great. And 99 times out of 100, if you're returning 6, 7, 8, great, you've got a happy customer, you're investing, you're pushing that, that's fantastic. But that's a target ROI. That's not, at times we don't feel, and we know from certain clients, that's not a break-even ROI. So right now, conversion rates are going to drop. We've already seen that. People are having to have a reluctance to invest in purchases that aren't seen as essential. They're going to delay, bigger purchases. They're going to go into a much more top funnel kind of research phase on a lot of products. So you have to then redeploy, your advertising budget more top funnel around more brand building into different channels that'll engage earlier in that buying cycle, create more valuable content like we've talked about here that'll engage people earlier in the funnel, show them that your products are the right products for them, you're the right brand that's going to engage with them. But generally, people are going to be moving back in the stage of which they're at. The number of people that are at purchase stage, decision stage, will definitely reduce. It has reduced and it is reducing. So consider that with your ROI, because if you work with an agency such as Mediaworks and you absolutely insist that delivery of 5 times ROI is an absolute and is a must, then there might not be the opportunity there to deliver you a 5 times ROI, which might mean you need to rein in your budget spend. It means your sales reduce, and it means that your profits reduce. If, for example, you can be profitable at 3.5 times, speak to your agency, sit down with them, speak to your internal marketing teams, and communicate that, and maybe lower the expectations just for this engagement period to a 3.5 times ROI, because actually, by doing that, there might be a lot of opportunity at 3.5 times, and actually you might be able to, not only maintain a sales level, but actually increase and grow your market share through reducing that expected return, and take it as a not even a loss leading period, just as a slightly reduced profitable period where you're still making money, you're still profitable, but you're happy to engage at a lower ROI to ensure to continue to drive the sales. Because maintaining expectations of ROI levels from a month ago or 3 months ago or what have you just isn't realistic for a lot of markets. Some markets are going crazy. They're probably getting 15 times, 20 times ROI where they were maybe getting 5 because everybody wants their product. But that's not necessarily an output of the marketing strategy, and that's going to be short-lived. So consider your ROI, really think about it, sit down with your CFO, sit down with your finance people, look at what is the level where we can operate and make money and be profitable, and can we possibly rein that in to ensure that we continue to drive growth during this period. So the final point for this video is basically to plan for your rebound in the long term. A lot of people right now are in, today, short-term kind of panic mode. They're making knee-jerk reactions that are gonna have long-term repercussions for the business. History shows that the brands that stayed calm, maintained a brand position, continued to invest in their business, continued to speak to their audience, continued to trade during the most difficult periods, were the ones that came out the other side and came out the rebound period the strongest by far. I think the last recession of 2008, Lego, Netflix, Groupon, Amazon, these people all just continued to invest as strong as they possibly could, and came out the other side 5, 6, 10-fold stronger, where their competitor had bunkered down and had kind of reduced advertising spending, closed the taps, and almost sort of hunkered down and prayed to ride it out. It's not a time for that. It's a time for, yes, making some short-term adjustments and some restabilizations. We've got a lot of clients who potentially reduced a portion of their Google ad spend, but they've taken that ad spend and they've reinvested it into SEO. They've taken a portion of it. So, they've maybe saved 50%, they've kept 25% on, because they see the value it plays, but they've moved 25% into SEO and organic because, whilst all of the competitors have switched off that activity, there's a phenomenal opportunity for them to be investing and coming up the other side of this because, make no bones about it, there will be a rebound, there will be an uptick off the back of SARS, off the back of MERS, off the back of 9/11. Generally, these things last about 1 to 4 months. There's a downturn, but then there's a boom. That uptick will come, that boom is coming, and the rebound's coming. You need to be thinking about that. You need to be prepared for it. You can't have shut down all operations to the point where you can't bounce back. You need to be ready. And the brands who are thinking about that now are the ones that are going to win for us. In history, again, like I say, has showed that. I think the biggest stat was Kellogg's kind of doubled their advertising spend during the Great Depression, and profits grew by 30% during that period. Every single other cereal business pretty much went out of business. So there is the opportunity, because people aren't investing, buying these eyeballs and buying these marketing platforms and slots have become a lot cheaper than what they were a month ago, 3 months ago. So, there is absolutely opportunities to be had. They're all around us. And, you need to think long term. You need to think about Q3 and Q4. And I think the businesses, the brands that, yes, make sensible short-term adjustments, but keep an eye on that long-term repositioning are the ones that are going to come out this absolute winners. And so for me, this is probably the single most important thing for anybody to do that's kind of listening now or watch this video is don't just turn the lights off. That's the worst possible thing you could do. Yes, be sensible. Yes, make adjustments. Yes, refocus your resources into key areas and possibly, switch off channels that aren't performing as well for you. But actually, don't lose sight of the fact that we're going to come out the back end of this. And, there's going to be an uptick, there's going to be a rebound, and you need to be positioned to make the most of that. So, I hope you found those 10 points useful. Fingers crossed there's some value in there, and if you've taken 3 or 4 things from this, then, hey, it's been worthwhile doing. And off the back of this 10-point plan, every day for the next 10 days, we'll be picking one of the points, and the head of department for that team will be running a very short video, which we'll be pushing out here on LinkedIn again, free of charge. Be about 10-15 minutes, which will just pick up 4 or 5 more detailed points about each one of the areas I've described. So please keep your eyes peeled for that. We'll also then be running an 11:30 till 12, 30-minute kind of hangout, help session, Q&A, free to attend for anybody, not just for MediaWorks clients, for anybody that has any questions or needs any help or any advice. And that again be chaired by each one of those heads of departments around whatever topic that we're running that day. So please attend those, please give us a shout. We're online, we're around, we're available, we're here to help. And stay safe, and your family, your colleagues, and hopefully we'll see you on the other end of this.